Welcome to the latest Motley Fool Scoreboard. I'm on Chocolate, and we've got longtime fools Rick Menares and John Quast giving a 1 to 10 rating to a Moneyball wreck. It's one of my favorite stocks. Maybe it might be the favorite stock across fooldom if we polled everyone. It's up there at least. It's Mercado Libre, ticker symbol MELI. We'll talk about the strength of Mercado Libre's business, including factors like industry and competition. 10 is invincible. A 1 is hopeless. 9's for both of you, Rick.
Yeah, so Mercado Libre is the Latin American leader in e-commerce and fintech. It's the Rio thing. Its roots lie in its namesake online marketplace, but its largest business in recent years has been its Mercado Pago payment platform. It has a history of explosive growth in a historically explosive part of the world. I gave the business a grade of C, but that's only because C means yes in Spanish. There is nothing average about Mercado Libre. 9.
Yeah, I'm also at a 9 here, and the only reason I'm not at 10 is because I think it's intellectually dishonest to say any business is invincible, but Mercado Libre comes about as close as I can imagine. Look, I used to live in South America, and once somebody had to send me a package to where I lived, it was a handshake with a bus driver who said I would be waiting out by the road when he drove by. My point here is that I don't think we appreciate sometimes what Mercado Libre is accomplishing by building logistics infrastructure in markets that have traditionally not had great infrastructure in place. It's done the same for e-commerce. I won't call it a first mover in fintech, but it was definitely an early mover and something that is propelling a trend forward in Latin America. As you look across this business, it has a huge user base. It is building these incredible platforms. I really like this business, and I don't know if anyone takes away this business in the next 20 years.
Right, coming off of those business scores, management's a little lower. A 10 is Warren Buffett. A 1 is Homer Simpson. Both of you have 6s, Rick.
Yeah, so founder CEO Marcos Galperin stepped down as CEO at the start of this year. He was huge for the company. He's now executive chairman of the board. Ariel Szarfstejn is now CEO. He's been at Mercado Libre for almost a decade. He was the architect of Mercado Envíos. It's a logistics business. His name is 82% consonants, but as a new CEO, I'm more concerned by the percentage of constants. I can't go higher than a 6 until he gets a few quarters under his belt, but I'm sure he'll get there.
That's exactly right. Maybe me and Rick are being a little bit too harsh here. I would have gone 7 or 8 with management if it hadn't been for this very, very recent change at CEO. Here's the thing. It's nothing against Ariel, nothing at all. But when you have a company that's this big and growing this fast, that is a very difficult transition, even for the best of executives. Marcos Galperin is a 1 in a million kind of a CEO. He has big shoes to fill. So I'm at a 6 here as well.
For financials, a 10 is a fortress. A 1 is yikes. John's at an 8. Rick, you're at a 7.
Yeah, growth. That's another word that's more than 80% consonants, and it's a top-line constant for Mercado Libre. Annual revenue growth has risen by at least 37% in each of the last 7 years, but there are some near-term margin concerns. Mercado Libre's operating profit rose just 8% in its latest quarter, with reported net income declining as operating expenses surged 50%. Mercado Libre is making some big investments in growth, and it's currently taking a margin hit in Brazil, where competitive pressures have led it to lower its order minimums for free shipping. So it's a little uneasiness there. I went with a 7.
I'm a little bit higher here at an 8. Mercado Libre is the cat's meow when it comes to financials. I mean, it is just incredible. I really like what it's doing, what Rick just mentioned here in Brazil. Yes, there is some margin pressure, but to me, it's no different than when Amazon offered free shipping for the first time 20 years ago. That contributed to some margin pressure for Amazon, but long-term, that was a great move. I think it's a very good long-term strategy to take a little margin pressure now to crush competitors and continue to grow for the long term. You look at the operating margin, even with taking the little hit, Mercado Libre has an 11% operating margin. That is on par with Amazon right now, and Mercado Libre doesn't have Amazon Web Services kind of a business that is this huge driver of the profit. So I think it's doing really good with what it has right now, even kind of tying one hand behind its back a little bit with profits. It's investing for growth, and that's what it should be doing.
Do you have a follow-up question? Are either of you concerned with the massive loan growth to help propel Mercado Pago?
Yeah, having to worry about net interest margin is a new thing for Mercado Libre investors. I mean, again, it's part of growing as a fintech. You have to offer people what they want, and you have your foot in your door. Why not kick that door in? But yeah, it does increase the risks.
Yeah, I agree with Rick. There is a little bit of a higher risk here, but I think that we do need to put this through an appropriate risk model, when we look at this, there is higher reward as well with these loans. And what it's doing right now, there's no real red flags. I think that investors are worried about what could happen. As long as it keeps doing what it's doing, everything looks really good to me.
Yeah, I'm always a little, old bank analysis, anytime someone gets into loan growth, but C Limited, if you look at a, competitor in mostly in Southeast Asia, they're doing the same thing. So if Mercado Libre is making a bad step, so is C Limited. We'll see. I'm bullish as well. Makes sense. John, let's talk valuation. How well will Mercado Libre stock do over the next 5 years? How safe is it? Keeping in mind a 10 is a sure thing and a 1 is a lottery ticket.
I'm here at 15% plus annual returns for Mercado Libre, and I know that is a spectacular return for a stock, but I really do believe in it. And one of the reasons why you look at the valuation right now at 3 times sales, that is its cheapest ever, including when you factor in the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009, when it's still growing at over 30% at this scale. I think it's a great valuation. I think it's a great long-term opportunity. I put a safety score of 8. I really do believe that this is a rock-solid business and very, very safe for investors if they take a 5-year plus time horizon.
Yeah, I went with a 10 to 15% 5-year return, just below John, but enough to beat the market. Profit targets have been moving lower since its poorly received quarterly results in February. So the stock isn't exactly cheaper despite its recent pullback. However, Mercado Libre, when it's out of favor, is usually a historically good time to buy the stock. So I think it will beat the market. Safety score, a couple of years ago, I might have been higher, but it's moved into a lot of riskier fintech categories like providing loans and offering trading platforms. I used to be an 8 or 9 on safety, but I'm at a 7 now.
Well, thank you to both Rick and to John. They've given Mercado Libre a strong overall score of 7.8 out of 10. That's just below the magic 8.0 that would force me to own shares, but it's a top 5 holding for me. It might be number 1. For top hits, John doesn't have any, but Rick prefers new holdings. Look out for a new scoreboard every market day at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next up is Coca-Cola Consolidated. Till then, Full On.